Frank Delgado, our favorite pothead. 31 years of age, greenish-brown eyes, dark hair. He has no hair! What are you talking about? O plus blood. Team position, heavy weapons man. Specialty, pyromancer. Delgado is a mixed mestizo and Chickasaw blood, and spent most of his troubled youth shuffled from one foster home to the next, until distant relatives on an Oklahoma reservation took him in. Finding a much-needed cultural identity, Delgado poured his body and soul into Chickasaw spiritualism, which led to a lifelong pursuit of shamanic wisdom. Blending the disciplines of alchemy and shamanism, Delgado learned to summon a fire-based entity, which he presumes is the Chickasaw spirit, Ababanili. I can't pronounce that. But was unable to control it. Further contact with similar spirits in Borneo, Mongolia, and Lithuania gave him the knowledge to harness the spirit and request its bidding. Unfortunately, Delgado used his knowledge of psychoactive drugs and chemistry to fund his research, which eventually drew the unwanted attention of the DEA and Chinese government. He was less than 24 hours from execution in Beijing when the Department of Occult Warfare pulled strings to liberate him. In return for his life, he was signed on with the Jericho squad and trained in occult warfare. Special abilities. Delgado is a pyromancer, which could roughly be translated as one who speaks with fire. In Delgado's case, the fire he speaks with is an entity of living flame that he says is Ababanili. Hey, I think I got it. A Chickasaw flame spirit. After contacting the spirit, Delgado offered it his right arm as a sacrifice to win its cooperation, which it accepted. The creature of living flame now lives as a parasite on Frank's arm during missions, encased and contained in a large metal sleeve that is covered in arcane symbols, courtesy of Sergeant Church, and is curiously warm to the touch. In combat, Frank opens the containment sleeve to release Ababanili, where he immediately sets to wreaking as much havoc as possible before he is forced back into containment. When loose, Fire Spirit responds usually to Delgado's commands, and so becomes a formidable tool and weapon. Delgado's powers didn't come without a price. The Fire Spirit he commands requires a flesh and blood host, so Delgado has sacrificed his own arm to feed it. A special containment device, co-designed by Delgado and Sergeant Billy Church, has been grafted onto his arm like a flaming bird of prey. Delgado opens the device, releases the spirit, calls it back to his arm at will. The cost of Delgado's arrangement should be obvious. While on a mission in order to win the spirit's subservience, the creature lives a parasitic life on Delgado's arm. Like many parasites, Ababanili doesn't want to annoy its host so much that Delgado decides to get rid of it. To this end, the spirit deadens the pain from the burns on Delgado's arm while he is confined in there. When the spirit is released during combat, however, the pain returns with nearly crippling intensity. Combat abilities. Frank only has one useful arm in this mission, and his right is encased in a protective shell that contains the flame. He uses weapons designed to be operated and reloaded with just one arm, thanks to custom-made reloading mechanisms installed on his body armor. Primary weapon: Hell's Keeper 3-barreled Gatling gun. Secondary weapon: a .50 caliber Payne automatic custom pistol, which we will never use. But then again, maybe we will. I don't know. Before making his deal with the fire entity, Delgado was deeply spiritual, a true shaman. Since then, he's become a troublemaker and is usually upset, probably due to the intense pain the parasitic spirit inflicts on him when it's released. He hates having anyone poking around inside of his head. Woohoo! Psychologists and psychics alike. Feels a kindred spirit with Sergeant Church and considers himself a modern-day alchemist. Self-taught in chemistry, pharmacology, and botany, he identifies strongly with the trickster archetype, loves mischief. has a real problem with authority and doesn't like blind-minded orders, which is why you'll see him and our favorite father in leather going at each other's throats.